Two very common words that are associated with fear that actually they're related to each other. One of them, even though it doesn't technically mean fear, is taqwa. And I think all of you know the term taqwa, right? You've heard it before. And a lot of times in the Quran when taqwa is translated, it's translated as fear. But just from a linguistic point of view, taqwa essentially is a fear or actions taken out of fear, precaution, protecting yourself. It comes from wiqaya, which literally means protection. So when you lock the house as you leave, that's taqwa. If you're going on a road trip and you left a couple of lights on purpose, and you set the alarm, or you told the neighbor, or you left the keys with a friend or whatever, all of that's taqwa. In other words, you took proper precaution to not get yourself into trouble. Taqwa is before the fact. Taqwa is before the fact. In other words, you don't want to get yourself into trouble. You don't want to, get a ticket, so you slow down before the red light comes. That's taqwa. In other words, it's a genuinely healthy, logical attitude for someone who knows there's trouble out there. That's what Allah Azza wa Jal wants from us. Just become awake, aware, conscious people. Be aware of your environment. Know that this thing is going to land you into trouble. I remind you something about taqwa that I want to share with you. Allah Azza wa Jal did not tell us, or tell Adam alayhi salam, don't eat from the tree. لا تأكلا من هذه الشجرة. Don't eat from the tree. He didn't say that. فقال لا تقربا هذه الشجرة. Don't go near the tree. Now, the next part of the ayah is لا تقربا هذه الشجرة فتكون من الظالمين. Don't eat from the tree. Don't go near the tree, rather. You'll become from the wrongdoers. But there's a step in between. Don't go near the tree. If you do go near the tree, as a result, you'll get tempted by the fruit. Then you will eat the fruit. Then a whole bunch and then eventually you'll be counted among the wrongdoers. There's a whole process. But as far as Allah is concerned and His knowledge of human nature is concerned, because He knows what He created, He says once you're within the gravitational force, you get close enough, you will get sucked in. So if Adam alayhi salam was told that, you, my brother, cannot say, nah, I can handle myself. I got this. It's not haram, is it? It's just like almost haram. You can't do that. Because now you're within the gravitational field. You have to be afraid of the fences and even beyond. You have to stay out of the neighborhood. You got to stay away. You can't even go near it. This is a very powerful thing Allah taught us. Not just to fear Him, but to fear the things that lead us to sin. To be afraid of the things that lead you to sin. You're heading in the wrong direction. You're not doing anything wrong yet, but I could see where this is leading. So stop. But wajl is after the fact. So Allah says, إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُم. When Allah is mentioned, when Allah is remembered, their hearts start trembling out of fear over what they have already done. In other words, standing in salat, reciting Quran, khushu' and wajl. Wajl meaning your heart starts getting overwhelmed. Man, Allah Azza wa Jal just said, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ. They stay away from useless conversation. I just finished one. Oh. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ. They're constantly trying to cleanse themselves. I just finished watching some filth. Oh, strike two. I am afraid of what just happened. You're supposed to get afraid. You're supposed to be a muhasabah of yourself. This is wajh. They said the problem of Bani Israel began with self-righteousness. They were self-righteous. They assumed they got it all figured out. Everybody else has the problem. As a result of their self-righteousness, they stopped fearing Allah. And when they stopped fearing Allah, even their motivation for Jannah was gone. When the fear of hell goes, next thing to go is what? Motivation for Jannah. One motivation dies, the other motivation dies. And if there's no longer a fear of fire, and there's no longer a motivation for paradise, then the only motives you have left are here. Now listen to this. Listen to this catch. Ar-rahab, I told you rahbaniya, otherworldliness. Yeah, otherworldliness. Rahab is a kind of fear that makes you lose the pleasures of this world. When you have that fear, you want nothing, you forget all the pleasures of this world. They were so immersed in worldly pleasure and they were so engrossed in it, the kind of fear Allah wants from them is the one that negates their addictions. The one that removes them. So He says, فَإِيَّايَ فَارْهَبُونَ. This is the state you've reached. It's one of the most terrifying states of fear in the Arabic language. You're so afraid that nothing good comes in your head. You're completely overwhelmed in your fear. Allah used that word specifically for a people that were so deeply engrossed in this world because their motivations for the akhirah were gone. Their motivations were gone. My final comment, I know it's salat time. My final comment about this issue, one of the ways to reconcile hope and fear, is in the life of a Muslim, maybe your first entrance into Islam was something that scared you. Maybe it was a fear. For me personally, it was. One of the things that brought me back to the deen was fear. It really was. Maybe the primary thing that brought me back was fear. But that is you know how you ever heard of the Scared Straight program? Right? It's a healthy thing. That's not the only relationship I have with Allah. That's not the only relationship you're going to have with Allah. But it might be a healthy start. And then eventually that fear will turn into a balance of fear and hope and eventually grow into love. It'll evolve and this emotion will have, this relationship will have developed multiple dimensions. But that takes time. So don't be afraid to be afraid. Be fearful of Allah. May Allah Azza wa Jal allow that fear to enter into our hearts, a healthy fear of Allah. And may Allah Azza wa Jal give us that balanced fear that we should have of Him and of the hudud that He has set of us. May Allah make us afraid of disappointing Him. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us afraid of doing less than we are supposed to do. And may Allah Azza wa Jal really put a genuine fear of Him in our most personal moments, when we are away from everybody else, so that we can truly experience the presence of Allah Azza wa Jal in our lives.